up? It's Mr. Eric, Friday, November 5th, 2021. If you can't tell, I'm very cold right now. That's why I'm wearing this parka. If you like my parka, and if you also like to wear parkas, feel free to leave a like. Now, before we go any further, let's just say I'm going to cut over the boring stuff, warehouse, orders, post office, and get straight to the meat. No salad, we're going right to the ribeye. No foreplay, we're going right to the kitty kitty bang bang. So, after being in this business for a while, it's about time I finally file for a sales permit application. You may be wondering, Mr. Eric, what is a sales permit? Well, if you're a business in the state of Connecticut, or frankly any state, you need a sales permit in order to charge customers sales tax on things that they buy from you. It's a way for the state to rob you of your money. Well, not really, because you can set your own price and then there's extra tax on top. They're robbing people who are buying from you. That's how it goes. In my opinion, taxation is theft to a big degree. Maybe there could be a little bit of tax, but I'm sick of all these taxes. I think people should just work for themselves, work hard, make their own money, and not rely on the state for their funding or their help. If you're relying on the state to help you, you are not living a purposeful life. You need to go find something to do for real. So if this is not motivation already, get off your damn butt and get to work. Alright, so you may be thinking, well, what's the whole point of the sales permit for you? What's the benefit to you? Because it seems like right now the only benefit is to the state, and it's just some more red tape that you have to go through. No. There's actually a benefit to the business owner. With a sales permit, you can purchase goods from a manufacturer or a distributor and not pay tax on it. So, Stop and Shop, let's say they're buying 100 bottles of shampoo from Dove. They don't have to pay tax on that purchase. They get it tax-free because the state knows that they intend to sell it to customers. That's where they'll get the tax. So if you're a business, you save a lot of money purchasing goods for your store or your other brand, and that way you could put more money into reinvesting in the business. So if my goal here, if my next step is to try to get into wholesale e-commerce, well, I'm going to want a sales permit because when I purchase from distributors, they know I'm a legit business and I can also save some money for myself. It was a pretty simple process, to be honest, on one of the state of Connecticut websites. At first I was a bit confused, but then I found some instructions on the bottom of a page and it directed me to a different site called MyConnect, and it gave me all the process on how to do it. I paid like $100 for this and it's supposed to last me 2 years. I don't know if there's a renewal fee yet. I'll wait for a notification if there is one, but $100 is not so bad. I mean, a lot of stuff sometimes getting into it's going to cost like a couple $1,000, but this is only $100. The LLC I formed costed I think like $300. So right now I've been owing $400 maybe total or more to setting up this business for the red tape purposes. Alright, so the application got done. I got an email saying that they're going to let me know within 10 days if it gets approved. So that's all I'm waiting for. Hopefully it'll be done next week. We will see. Okay, so after that I started calling some property owners. If you think back to yesterday when I was doing research on the bins, it is now my turn to call property owners to ask them about me putting a bin on their property. So I found 2 property owners that I contacted. The reason I found them is because they actually have for sale signs on their properties or for rent signs or built to suit signs. So I dialed the numbers and I called them up. The first was called Advance Realty. I've never seen them before. They have like a corner property on Main Street in Bristol, so I gave them a call, went straight to voicemail, so I left a message. The second number I called is D'Amato Realty. If you're from Bristol, you've heard the name D'Amato. They're a bunch of property owners. I think they do construction too. They gotta be millionaires, this family, D'Amato. So I gave the number on their sign a call. I got directed to some dispatch lady, and then she directed me to a realtor. So I spoke to this realtor. His name was Kyle Mecarello, and I told him what my intention is. I want to put a bin somewhere on one of their properties. And he said, this property might not be good that I was specifically calling about, but we have others. So feel free to send me an email. Here's my email with the info on what your plan is. Like, do you have insurance? What's the bin going to look like? And so forth. That way I can get back to you. I don't know anything about bin insurance. So the next thing I did was text Josh Grooms to have him call me. So he called me and said, well, I didn't think about that either, but I'll do some research over the weekend and then I'll get back to you. Maybe we could set up some insurance somehow, give him the details over email. That way we're not waiting any longer, and then that way we're not keeping him waiting either. Another hoop we got to jump through to get this bin process down But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. You got to stay patient. Nothing comes overnight. And those are the only two numbers I really called. I just got to wait for more information from Josh on how we can get this insurance, because I'm sure every property owner is going to want to know about it. As for Mr. Tom, the realtor, the landlord of my unit and the warehouse I'm in, he sent me a text saying that he's not interested in having a donation bin on his property because his father, who's been in real estate for years, probably 50 years or so, has had bad experiences with them in the past. I sent Tom a text back saying, hey, like, can you make an exception for us? I tried to call, but he didn't really answer. So I just sent a text saying, can you make an exception for me and Josh because we're right on the property? And he hasn't responded. He seems to do that a lot. He seems to ghost me, especially about, like, getting the bathroom keys. That's why I haven't gone to the bathroom here yet. I still go outside or still go to McDonald's. So, you know, it's just something I'm dealing with. But I have a good deal on the rent here. It's not too expensive. I get free electricity too, so I'm happy with where I am. All right, next thing is my brother John is on his way to the warehouse because he's going to do some work for me tonight. However, I cannot be at the warehouse when he's here because I'm going to meet Mr. Andrew Leonard because he's going to show me his dad's store. So what I have to do is I have to call John, give him instructions on what he's going to do, and send him pictures of the piles of books he has to go through. I send him a vintage book pile that he's got to list on eBay. I send him a bulk pile of eBay things, and I show him the Gaylords that he's got to process too. So when John's here on his way, he knows what he has to do. That way he can make me some money, and then he can make himself some money as well. So while he's doing that, I get prepared to go meet Mr. Andrew Leonard. So Mr. Andrew Leonard is a kind of a reseller. I don't know too much about what he does, but it seems like he goes to the flea market and flips things. He also flips things on eBay. His dad actually owns a store. It's kind of like a used, like, furniture, whatever, estate clean out store where people can buy things that are in better condition that have been sitting in homes where people might have died or moved out, and he sells this to people. He also brings it to the flea market to sell. So I think it's kind of a cool thing to learn about, so I figure, hey, let's go meet this guy, ask him some questions, and then maybe tell him about my business as well. So I meet Mr. Andrew Leonard at his dad's store, and then he introduces me to his dad. His dad and me hit it off pretty quickly. I start asking him questions about his business. He shows me in the front of his store he sells his stuff, but he also does something called consignment. What consignment is he rents out spaces inside his store, and he allows people to put their products there to sell in his store. So for example, there's one lady who likes to sell paint. So she puts her paint jars on one of the shelves in his store, and she pays him rent to sell them. I'm not sure what kind of cut he gets and she gets when the paint sells. I forgot to ask about that. But it seems like he's getting free rent from these people who are selling stuff on his space. Then there's like another guy who does consignment, and he sells trains. He put trains on one of his shelves, and then when those trains sell, you know, the money gets split somehow. Mr. Andrew Leonard's dad, who's also Mr. Leonard, by the way, his name is Bob Leonard, Mr. Bob Leonard. He's also planning on creating like an eBay section of his store so he can repair stuff listed on eBay or also Facebook Marketplace, and people could come to the back and pick it up. He's trying to do like an in-store front of house thing, and he's also trying to do an eBay like back of house Facebook Marketplace pickup thing in the back. That's how he's splitting his store up. His store is very clean. I highly recommend you go check it out. It's called Seems Like Yesterday in Cheshire. It's on a busy road right next to a pizza place called Anthony's. That's really good. So if you got time and you're near Cheshire, go ahead and go to it. Okay, after me and Mr. Bob Leonard have our conversation, Mr. Andrew Leonard and I actually go right next door to Anthony's and get some food. Mr. Andrew Leonard and I split a pizza. It is really good. It's not a normal round pizza. We got the thick crust one. I don't know if it's called Chicago style or Sicilian, but it was really freaking good. Came out piping hot. We ate that together. We had casual conversation. Then it was time for me to go home. Now, on the way home, I almost got into a car accident. I don't know what I was doing, but I didn't see a lady walk into the road with a stop sign and a neon yellow vest in front of construction work and want me to stop. I was the first in the line of cars that was supposed to stop. I don't know what was going on. Apparently a siren went off because the lady yelled at me when I started speeding and then almost broke and hit her. She's like, "What the hell are you doing? Didn't you hear the siren?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, woman." Like, I genuinely felt bad because I was not paying attention. I don't know if I was tired. I don't know if I was daydreaming or whatever, but I almost hit this lady and she got mad at me. She had like one tooth in her mouth, so I could barely understand what she was saying, but she said something something about siren and stop and you're an effer, all these bad words. Lady, I'm sure you're not watching this, but if your grandson is, and grandson, if you know your granny is one of those traffic people at construction sites, say I'm sorry, I really apologize. Alright, I got home, I ate some more food actually because mom made some good chicken, and then I went to bed because I want to wake up early tomorrow to go to the warehouse. So I'll tell you about tomorrow, Saturday. Peace.